Your brain is working against you right now, not because it hates you, but because it was built 200,000 years ago when your biggest problem was not getting eaten by a tiger. Fast forward to today, and that same brain is why you can't stop scrolling TikTok at 2 a.m. when you have a big presentation tomorrow. Every time you hit snooze, avoid that difficult conversation, or choose Netflix over your side project. That's not weakness. That's ancient wiring doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Keep you safe, keep you comfortable, keep you in the cave where the tigers can't get you. But what kept your ancestors alive is now keeping you stuck. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you 5 ways to literally reprogram these ancient patterns so success starts feeling as natural as survival. Let's get into it. Chapter 1. Training your brain to face discomfort. So think about the last time you really wanted to do something uncomfortable, maybe start a business, have a tough conversation, or finally go to the gym. What happened? You probably felt this wave of anxiety. Maybe your heart rate went up a bit, and your brain went, yeah, let's not do that. Let's do literally anything else. That's your amygdala talking. It's this tiny almond-shaped part of your brain that's basically your internal alarm system. And it's incredibly good at its job, which is to freak out whenever you try to do anything outside your normal routine. Most people think successful people just don't feel this, like they're somehow immune to discomfort. But that's completely wrong. They feel it just as much as you do. They've just trained their brain to recognize that the alarm is lying most of the time. Think of it like a car alarm that goes off when a leaf touches it. Sure, it might save you from an actual thief one day, but mostly it's just screaming about leaves. Your amygdala is the same way. It can't tell the difference between real danger and sending a cold email to someone successful. So what do you do about it? You don't try to silence it completely. That's impossible. Instead, you train it like you'd train a dog. Small exposures, controlled discomfort, repeated evidence that the scary thing didn't actually kill you. Pick something you've been avoiding. Not the biggest, scariest thing. Something medium-sized. Maybe it's making that phone call or posting your work online. Now commit to just 10 seconds of action, not finishing it. Just starting it for 10 seconds. Those 10 seconds do something incredible. They prove to your amygdala that the danger wasn't real. And every time you do this, your tolerance for discomfort expands by about 1%. Doesn't sound like much, right? But do that every day for a year and you're 365% more capable of handling discomfort than you are right now. Your comfort zone isn't this fixed thing you're born with. It's more like a muscle that gets stronger the more you use it. Most people just never train it. Chapter 2. Hijacking your dopamine for productivity. Now let's talk about why you can spend 3 hours on Instagram but can't focus on your actual work for 30 minutes. It's not because you're lazy or broken. It's because your brain runs on dopamine, and it's getting played. Dopamine is like your brain's currency. Every action you take is motivated by the promise of getting some. Finish a big project? Dopamine hit. Scroll through 50 TikToks? Same exact dopamine hit. Your brain genuinely cannot tell the difference between accomplishment and distraction. They feel identical neurologically. This is why social media is so dangerous. It's not that it's entertaining, it's that it's giving you the same neurochemical reward as actually building something meaningful. Except you get it instantly and with zero effort. Your brain goes, why would we work hard for dopamine when we can get it in 30 seconds by opening Instagram? You're not competing with your own laziness. You're competing with apps that were literally designed by neuroscientists to hijack your dopamine system as efficiently as possible. So you need to hijack it back. Delete the apps off your phone. I'm serious. You can still access them on your computer if you really need to, but add that 30 seconds of friction. Because dopamine isn't just about the reward itself. It's about how easy it is to get. Make the bad dopamine hard to access. Then, and this is where it gets interesting, start creating artificial rewards for productive behavior. Finished an hour of deep work? Check a physical box on a piece of paper. Completed something difficult? Actually do a victory pose. Arms up, big smile, the whole thing. You'll feel ridiculous, but your brain responds to physical celebration the same way it responds to digital likes. Track everything visibly. Streaks, tally marks, progress bars. Your brain releases dopamine when it sees progress. Within about 2 weeks of doing this, something wild happens. Your brain starts craving the productive dopamine because you've made it more accessible than the distraction dopamine. You haven't become more disciplined. You've just redirected where your brain goes looking for its fix. Chapter 3. How identity shapes your discipline. My brain at 9 p.m. is like this incredibly ambitious life coach. Tomorrow we're waking up at 5 a.m., crushing a workout, journaling, meditating, and working on that business idea for 3 hours before our actual job. And my brain at 5 a.m. is like a completely different person. What if we died, though? Let's stay in bed and think about our mortality for a while. This is why I stopped. Tomorrow we're waking up at 5 a.m., crushing a workout, journaling, meditating, and working on that business idea for 3 hours before our actual job. And my brain at 5 a.m. is like a completely different person. What if we died, though? Let's stay in bed and think about our mortality for a while. This is why I stopped trusting my brain to just naturally do the right thing. Because it won't. Not because I'm weak, but because brains don't work that way. Which brings me to something most people completely miss. You can't change your behavior long-term without changing your identity. And I don't mean that in some abstract spiritual way. I mean it literally. Your brain doesn't do what you want it to do. It does what's consistent with who you think you are. If you see yourself as not a morning person, your brain will sabotage every single early wake-up attempt. If you identify as someone who's bad with money, your brain will find creative ways to keep you broke. Your identity is running the show. But you can't just decide to have a different identity tomorrow. That's not how it works. Your brain updates your self-concept based on evidence. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you're becoming. Do one push-up today? That's one vote for I'm someone who exercises. Send one cold email? One vote for I'm someone who takes action. Your brain is literally counting votes and updating your identity based on what wins. So if you want to become someone who builds a successful business, you don't need to suddenly transform into this completely different person. You just need to collect enough evidence that your brain updates the identity naturally. Write for 10 minutes? Evidence. Reach out to one potential customer? Evidence. Show up consistently even when you don't feel like it? That's the strongest evidence of all. After about 30 days of consistent votes, something shifts. You're not trying to force yourself to be disciplined anymore. You just are disciplined, because that's who the evidence says you are. That's when everything gets easier, because you're not fighting your identity anymore. Chapter 4. Designing an environment that forces success. None of this matters, though, if your environment is actively working against you. And for most people, it absolutely is. You cannot out-willpower a bad environment. It's not possible. Willpower is this limited resource that gets depleted throughout the day. But your environment is constant. It's there at 8 p.m. when you're exhausted and have made 10,000 decisions and just want to eat an entire pizza. That's when your environment wins. Would you rather try to resist eating cookies 10 times a day, or just not buy the cookies? One decision versus dozens. This is why willpower is the wrong tool for the job. Look at your physical space right now. What's the path of least resistance? If your phone is next to your bed, you'll check it first thing in the morning. If junk food is in your pantry at eye level, you'll eat it. If your gym bag isn't already packed, you probably won't go. You're not making conscious decisions about these things. You're just following the easiest path. Smart people design their lives for their weakest moments. They don't organize everything for their most motivated, inspired, energized self. They design for the exhausted version at 8 p.m. who has zero willpower left. That version needs systems, not inspiration. Make the good stuff frictionless. Lay out your gym clothes the night before. Schedule your deep work blocks like they're meetings you can't miss. Automate your savings so you never have to decide. Every point of friction you remove is a decision you don't have to make. And add friction to the bad stuff. Delete the apps. Put your phone in a drawer in another room. Make the destructive behavior require effort. Studies show that even 20 seconds of added friction is enough to dramatically reduce bad behavior. Your environment is programming you whether you realize it or not. You might as well program it deliberately. Chapter 5. The 90-minute window that rewires your brain. One more thing that changes everything. Your brain isn't equally changeable throughout the day. There's this window, roughly 90 minutes after you wake up, where your brain is incredibly plastic. Neural connections form faster. Learning sticks better. This is your biological prime time for transformation. And most people use this window to check email, scroll news, and react to whatever everyone else thinks is urgent. By the time you get to your important work, your neuroplasticity window has closed. You've used your brain's most valuable hours on information consumption instead of creation. It's like having a superpower that only works before 9 a.m. and choosing to watch TV during that time. Protect those first 90 minutes like your life depends on it. No email, no news, no reacting to other people's priorities. Use this time for whatever matters most. Learning a new skill, building something, creating something. This is when your brain actually rewires itself. Then, after that focused work, do something completely different for 10 minutes. Walk, shower, stare at the wall. This isn't wasted time. This is when your brain consolidates what you just learned. Skip this, and you've wasted the learning. Do this for 30 days and you'll make more real progress than most people make in a year. Same 24 hours, just different timing. Look, you don't need to fight your brain. You need to understand that it's running on ancient software and work with it instead of against it. You don't need more motivation or discipline or some personality transplant. You need to apply basic neuroscience to how you live your day. Train your discomfort tolerance gradually. Control your dopamine by controlling access. Build your identity through accumulated evidence. Design your environment so good choices are automatic. And use your brain when it's actually capable of rewiring itself. Most people won't do any of this. They'll keep waiting for the day they suddenly feel motivated enough. They'll keep wondering why some people make success look effortless. But if you implement even one of these, you'll notice something shift. The things that used to take enormous effort will start feeling normal. The person you're trying to become will start feeling like who you actually are. Your brain will stop being your enemy and become your advantage. Pick one of these principles. Just one. Focus on it for the next week. Don't try to overhaul your entire life tomorrow. That's how people fail. If this was helpful, subscribe because I break down how your brain actually works every week. No fluff, just applicable neuroscience. Drop a comment and tell me which one you're starting with. I read all of them. Your brain isn't broken, it's just running outdated software. Time to update it. Thanks for watching.